Brought to you by Rush TV.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Turnbuckle. I am your host, Tammy Young, and this week's Turnbuckle is an extraordinarily meaty episode as we are just a few weeks away from this year's two-night OCWFED Wrestlelution event in Atlanta. Atlanta will be booming with so many matches set to take place during the two-night event, such as OCW champion El Parka facing off against Max Edward, Nate Ortiz versus the returning legend, The Steve, Larry Mugen versus Paul Pugh, a rematch between B17 and Antonio Everett, Alexander Bolek looking to take on Rust Cole, and let's not forget Imp possibly facing off against Heather Angelo in what some are expecting to be the first ever female Lucian main event. With so much hype built around this year's event, pre-order ticket sales have already crashed the Ticketmaster website several times. Speaking of Imp, she was spotted on set of her new project, following her award-winning documentary Terrified, which detailed the story of Tara DeTouras and her journey through OCW. Imp seems to be funding a new documentary on the story behind Heather Angelo. The actress, Elizabeth Rodriguez, who will be playing the role of Heather Angelo, was quoted as saying, "This is the lowest point in her career." Production of the documentary has seemed to ramp up again following several accidents that seem to have taken place backstage. Imp needed to take some time off following an attack from Heather Angelo last week on Turmoil. More on that later. For now, there has been no word on when the release date of this project at this time. I'm sure the fans are hyped to hear more about this project. Speaking of things on fans' hype list, let's move on to this past week's Ambition episode 90, Riot 622 and Turmoil 316 shows. First up, we have Ambition, who seems to be throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. With a new stock of faces making the scene and trying to prove themselves, Paul Pugh might have a lot on his plate while dealing with Larry Mugen at the same time, but more on that later. Back to the Ambition first up, we have Petey Wheatstraw making an appearance to lay down a law of the land. OCW has seen people come in and attempt this before. Will things play out differently for Petey? Only time will tell. From Petey, we move to Mav versus Pearl in a one-on-one fight. Following the amazing showing Pearl put out during her match against Heather Angelo during Rumble Grounds, fans were excited to see whatever Pearl had in store. Maybe it was the change of pace, maybe it was the smaller scale, but Pearl was not on her A game as Mav was able to dominate most of this fight to pick up the win. For our next match, we had Christine versus Rachel Lachlan. Fans seemed to be into this match as Rachel dominated Christine with her brute strength for most of the match. But the new rookie, Christine, would not go down without a fight as Rachel was unable to land a strong enough move to keep the rookie down, which eventually led to Rachel gassing out and Christine picking up the win. From there, we move on to our next match, Hifumi Mayoshi versus Junko Jirota, as Junko continues to find her pacing in OCW after coming off the indies. Fans were excited to see how these two Joshi stars would fare in a match against each other. Junko didn't seem to be able to keep up with the pace of Hifumi. Seeming to try her best and keep up with the high flyer, Junko found herself playing catch up too little too late as Hifumi was able to put the rookie down for the 3 count. And last for Ambition, we have the main event of the returning John Carter versus Eddie Ramos. As a kind of recurring theme of the show, once again, this match was very one-sided for a large portion of the fight, with Eddie doing his best to keep his head above the water. The moment it seemed as if Eddie was starting to make a comeback, the efforts were shot down by John Carter, who eventually put the rookie away with the greatest knee of all time to pick up the win. As the match wrapped up, John Carter was hit with a surprise attack from out of nowhere by Jordan Trance. Once brothers, now enemies, things between these two men have really taken a turn for the worst. Fans were really pleased with Ambition's showing and has been giving it high praise, as you never know who will make an appearance on the show as of late. Currently, no ratings have been issued for any of the Ambition shows, but we'll let you know if anything changes. For now, here are some of the highlights for last week's Riot. Riot opened hot with Rex calling out DNS, which quickly became more than Rex could handle. But to everyone's surprise, Rex was joined by Cass to help fight off DNS. This looks like the Cass scum may have worked out their differences just in time to put a stop to DNS at Lucian 18. For our first match of the evening, we have a new face in town, Gabriel Vincent going against Bay. Fans were not sure what to expect coming into the match from Gabriel, but fans were quite pleased as right out of the gate, Gabriel put on an impressive showing against Bay. The rookie seemed to be close to victory, but caught with a hammerlock flatliner, allowing Bay to pick up the 3 count. Up next, we have what may not be the main event, but was rated the match of the night, as we have Anthony Martin and Paul Harris versus the tag team champions Mass Effect. Fans were on the edge of their seat the entire match as both teams put on one hell of a showing up to a nail-biting finish. The match was praised by most of the wrestling sites and spoken highly of among the fans of the show. However, the match did have some confusing moments where members of both sides attempted to attack their teammate in what some are calling a state of confusion due to the amount of action that was happening in the ring. Paul Harris and Anthony Martin were able to pick up the win over Mass Effect. Could this lead to a possible tag title opportunity down the line? Only time will tell. Following these events, we have another rookie, Keira Nightingale, facing off against Belle. Keira Nightingale made her first appearance at this year's Rumble Grounds, where she put on an excellent showing as Keira made her first one-on-one debut match against Belle. Fans are finally able to see what a powerhouse Keira is as both Keira and Belle set the ring ablaze with what I would consider my match of the night. Belle threw everything she had at Keira, but was having a hard time keeping the rookie down. Just when it seemed as if Keira was going to put Belle away, she was hit with a contour crush by Belle for the 3 count. Next up, we have the controversial main event of the legend, Larry Mugen and Mr. Deathmatch himself, Rex. With both Mugen and Rex having so much history with each other, fans were expecting an all-out brawl between these two men, and boy did the fans get more than just a brawl. So a lot is happening around this match as things started on the up and up and slowly progressed into madness as the ref for the match, Greg, was attacked several times during the chaos. After several attacks, the match still proceeded as both Mugen and Rex continued to assault one another, eventually leading to Rex picking up the win against Mugen. Following the outcome of the match, Paul Pugh made an appearance where he went to confront Mugen in the ring, which turned into a brawl between the two men as things reached their breaking point between Pugh and Mugen, leading to Lucian. Who knows what the two legends have planned next? While we are on the main event subject, reports have surfaced about Greg seeking legal counsel against Rex and Mugen following the events of the Riot's main event, with a press release being issued by OCWFED stating the results of this incident while enforcing both members involved to pay $50,000. More on this can be read at OCWFED.com. Before the show was able to go off, the Air fans were greeted with the arrival of Antonio Everett, who was called out to meet the CCW champion B17 face-to-face. The two men exchanged heated words before agreeing to face each other one more time at Lucian 18, with Everett attacking B17 with a low blow before leaving the ring. Fans are wondering how will B17 respond to this event come Turmoil, or if he will save his retaliation for Lucian. As we have only discussed a few moments that have taken place on Riot, don't miss out on all the other events such as the rivalry between Mad Dog and Trey Golden, the feud between Marissa and Rachel Lachlan, and as well as the battle for the OCW Heavyweight Championship with El Parka versus Max Edwards can be found on OCWFED.com. The show has some fans rating it one of the better Riots this season. The official rating on Ring Rates is a B+ overall. Some stated the show could have been rated higher if not for the controversy revolving around the main event. That's it for Riot. Let's move on to the highlights of this past Turmoil. This show should be called Chaos instead of Turmoil due to the number of events that have taken place in a single show. As the show opened, we were greeted with a video of Imp speaking with members of DNS. Throughout the show, Imp was seen speaking with different members of the roster as the show teased the big reveal of the Lariat announcement. But more on that later. Following the opening video, the show cuts to House of Faith in the ring as Deborah Soto is set to reveal who she will be facing for her OCW Women's Championship. During the segment, Deborah announces Sheann Lovelace as the contender for the title, but to everyone's surprise, Sheann is seen being dragged out by River, who declares Deborah needs to make a sacrifice. Does this mean Deborah is fighting Sheann or facing Joanna, or will there be another three-way among these women? Hopefully, we can get answers to these questions on the coming Riot. Next up, we have the in-ring debut of Petey Wheatstraw facing off against Eddie Ramos. Both men put on a jaw-dropping spectacle as they both put everything on the line, with Petey showing off his amazing strength and physical dominance while Eddie displayed his quick speed and agility to attack with lightning-fast strikes. Though Eddie was able to keep himself in the fight against Petey, things came to a rough stop as Eddie was welcomed into Texas and pinned for the 3 count. Speaking of a warm welcome, we have the tag team champions Mass Effect, who caught Paul Harris alone in the back and gave him a rough welcome to the tag team division. Fans wondered where Anthony Martin was during the time of the attack. Many fans are starting to wonder if Anthony Martin was aware of the attack based on the events that took place during the tag team match on Riot and helped Mass Effect in planning out the incident that took place. Next up, we have Ryu Matsumoto in the ring speaking.
Why, hello there. I didn't notice you there. Here's the spider, Ryu Matsumoto, interrupting your regular programming just to let you know. Perfect Storm absolutely stinks. They don't stand a chance against my ringers. The greatest tag team in OCW history, Ella Team, Biger Lunny. Count the days, Quartz and Harvey. You're about to get your just desserts, courtesy of your co-general manager of catering.
Okay, that was weird. Anyway, our next match of the evening was the DNS Mad Hatter Jinx facing off against a returning Chris Green. The fans were pleased as both men gave it their all and pulled out all the stops in this matchup. Fans weren't sure what to expect from Chris Green, with him having taken so much time off from when he was seen last. Many wondered if ring rust would be a problem going into the match, but to much surprise, a beat was not missed, as both Jinx and Chris Green gave the fans what they paid for. With Chris Green moments away from a victory, Jinx was able to round off the match with a no laughing matter, planting Chris Green into the mat for the win. As we approached the later hours of the show, we fans were given some tag team action as we had the Rumble Bellas going against the team of Flojo and the Pride champion Suplex. The Rumble Bellas were on point for most of this match, with consistent tags taking place and each member of the team playing to their strengths. This was the opposite of what was happening with Flojo and Suplex, as the team seemed to struggle with getting on the same page for most of the fight. Sue began to show more and more signs of frustration as the match continued until things within the team imploded, leading to Sue attacking her teammate and leaving her to take the loss by the Rumble Bellas. Were the frustrations of what was yet to come affecting Sue during the match? Who knows? Following these events, we have Marissa Welch-Mack. Is she still married to Iceman Nate Mack? This is what has the fans interested in the things between Trey Golden, Mad Dog, Rachel Lachlan, and Marissa seem to be boiling over. Trey continues to call out Marissa regarding her time spent with another man who isn't her husband. All the while, Marissa seems to have possible dirt on Trey, as things with Rachel seem to be stacked on top with all these moving parts. Who knows what's in store? And for our last match of the evening, we have Max Edwards going up against the Nuclear Option Rex. Following the events of Riot, fans were not sure what to expect with this match, as Greg was head ref for this event and Rex's intentions were very unclear at times. But to everyone's surprise, the match was called down the middle. Rex and Max Edward put on a fine match with both men, giving each other the best they have. With a nice back and forth between the two men, Rex was finally able to nail the wrist clutch lariat and picking up the win over Max Edwards. But the beating for Max didn't end there, as El Parka sauntered his way to the ring to inflict even more pain on Max following the hellish match he was just put through against Rex. El Parka left Max a bloody mess as he left the ring. Will Max Edwards be in any fighting condition to face El Parka at Lucian? We'll have to wait and see. For now, let us move on to the finale of last week's Turmoil, as it was teased throughout the show of the reveal of Lariat. Imp has been declaring that Lariat is Terra Daturus in disguise. Imp offered Lariat the opportunity to remove the mask under her own free will, otherwise further actions would be taken. As Lariat refused to take off the mask, Suplex was forced to attack Lariat with threats of being fired. Following the attack, Lariat's mask was forcefully removed, by Imp revealing indeed it was Terra Daturus under the mask the entire time. Imp then went on to call out Heather Angelo, who had the upper hand on Imp, not expecting Heather to attack her from behind. Blood and fist were flying everywhere as the two women assaulted the hell out of each other. These two are in a pressure cooker and the lid is about to blow. The show wrapped up without a final word on whether we will be getting Imp versus Heather at Lucian 18. Wait a minute, looks like we have some breaking news. We have just received word during an episode of Rope Break with Stacey Clark and Monica Lazaro. It seems as if Heather Angelo and Imp were invited as guests on the show to discuss whether their match for Lucian has been officially declared. We are getting that clip for you now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rope Break. We have two guests with us today that we are excited to have here with us. As we have the general manager Imp and Heather Angelo. Are you ready for this, Stacey?
Monica, when I tell you, you can cut the tension in this room with a knife. I mean, it's thick. Especially after following the events that took place on Turmoil, we have extra security present on set. And both sides have stated things will refrain from becoming physical. Let's hope we can get the official word on if this Lucian match will be happening or not.
You're telling me this is a big moment. Now that it seems our guests are here and are situated, Stacey, let's try not to waste any more time and get straight to what everyone is here for.
You have a point, Monica, so without further ado, please welcome General Manager Imp and Heather Angelo to the show. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us, you two.
I think I made my point very clear. If that bitch wants a match, she will shake my hand and thank me for the opportunity like a damn adult. She failed to do that, so she gets no match.
Shake your hand? You tried to end my career when you dropped me from the Tron on a hard target. Why would I shake your hand, bitch? You're lucky I don't kill you right now. If it wasn't for my respect for Stacey...
Okay, let's all calm down.
Ruin your career? Bitch, I made your career. Your life had nothing without me. You were just another Valkyrie project before I showed up.
Whoa. We are getting off topic.
Valkyrie project? Valkyrie is the reason anyone even knows who you are. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
You think you're big shit, but you don't even know who you are. One minute you're Heather, the next minute you're Furiosa. You spend more time crying in closets than you do making a name for yourself.
I'm gonna make a name for myself when I put you down and bring an end to your general manager's career at Lucian, if you're not too much of a coward to step in the ring with me.
I think we need to go to commercial break.
Shut the hell up, Stacey. You want me out of the GM position?
Yes, I do. You have caused enough problems in this company, and someone has to put an end to all your bullshit, and that someone is gonna be me.
Okay, if you're such big shit, bet your career on it. If you think you can do what Tara couldn't, and don't come crying to me when you end up exactly like she did.
You got a deal. Only person gonna be crying will be you when I'm done.
Okay, we really need to go to commercial break.
There you have it. It looks as if we'll be getting Imp versus Heather Angelo at Lucian 18, and it looks as if Heather is putting her career on the line to face Imp, while Imp is placing her general manager position on the line. With all the events that have taken place between these two over the past year, I'm sure fans are hyped to see what is in store for the conclusion of this epic feud. That wraps up our highlights of Turmoil, but there were plenty of other events that took place on the show worth watching, such as the mysterious videos, the match between Pearl and Junko, and the segment involving Alexander Bolek's Rust Coal song. Fans of the show can't stop talking about what happened during the show, as the official post on Ring Ratings has this Turmoil show rated as a B overall and lists Jinx versus Chris Green as the match of the night, with only 2 more shows set to air before we roll our way into the Lucian week. The roof is being blown off the building each show. We don't know if Atlanta has enough police officers to keep the fans under control. But that's another issue for another day. As for now, we look forward to what is in store for Ambition 91 and Riot 623, with Ambition set to have Anthony Martin versus Jinx as the main event, and Riot is set to have a matchup of Mark Reese versus Rust Coal. The week before, Lucian is beyond hot. As for now, that's it for this episode of The Turnbuckle, but you can keep up with all the matches, rumors, and reports on the OCWFED.com website. I'm your host, Tammy Young, and we'll see you next time.